New champions keep being added into this game, Raid Shadow Legends, every month, but there are some of my personal favorites that I hold dearly because they've carried me all the way from the early game all the way to the end game, where I still use them today. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 of my favorite champions per rarity. 3 from the rare, 3 from the epic, 3 from the legendary. Not to make this one very long, so you guys coming into the game can know that these champions are still very viable in 2024, even if maybe we no longer talk about them again, or we've replaced their role in our teams with some new shiny epics or legendaries that we are obtaining right now. So this is a call out or a shout out to older champions who are still very valuable in the game today, and I'll tell you how I use them in that early game stage where they might help you be doing better in your team. So if I head over to my champions right here and sort by rarity, of course I want to start with the rares. I want to start with the rare, of course, because that's the 3 rares that changed my account for the better, whether in the early game up till today I still use them. The first one, most players will say don't start with your starter champion. Yes, I will start up with my starter champion, which was Atel. You might have chosen Kale. In 2024, everybody started with Kale because he's the best in terms of the poison he adds. But the reason why I started, or the reason why I called out Atel as my first pick for the 3 rares that are my favorite in Raid Shadow Legends is because I still use that today in Raid Shadow Legends. Where do I use her? You can see her in an end game stun set where she does her AoE hit, or whoever she hits, she has a almost 18% chance, right, from the stun set to place that champion on stun. So she's not coming there to do a huge amount of damage anymore. She's not there in a lifesteal early game build anymore. She's now in a stun set. Where did I build this champion for? After using the champion for the campaign early game stages where you need her as your campaign farmer, I decided to use this champion for a more advanced role, like a Fire Knight champion who has the triple hitter on the A1. Then you're talking about the faction wars where also a stun set helped her stun the waves. She's not there for much damage, but if you keep your waves stunned in that secret order faction, it can help you take it down faster. Lifesteal also works, but a lot of stun sets works in that content. She was one of the AoE champions that helped me. Now in the end game where I use this champion, if I scroll over to the end game content where she still shines, is the Doom Tower. And one of the secret rooms where, yes, I did use that today because I was clearing my secret room keys, because 20 hours to go on the secret room keys right here. And I think it's stage 7 or is lower, stage 6, no, lower, stage 5. There she is right here. A bunch of rares. Secret rooms like this require you to use rare attack only champions, and she is one of the MVP for that content. In almost every rotation, you have one of these rooms that requires specific champions, specific rarity, and that if you don't build them out, you cannot beat this secret room. And she is the staple right here because she has a stun set. Every champion in here almost has a stun set, besides everybody here has a stun set. That's how I take down the secret room. There are dedicated videos about it. I just wanted to show you that early game campaign farmer, faction wars, and then finally Doom Tower. She's still very valuable. So that's the first one I'm calling out. I know it's not expected that people will call out their what do you call this thing now, their rare starter champion as an MVP. Yeah, she's still an MVP because I still use her in content. She's not forgotten. The next MVP that I'll have to call out, no doubt, because this champion helped people in the early game all the way till the end game, it's going to be Cold Heart. We cannot start this video without talking about a Cold Heart, because it's a champion that we build in the early game all the way to the end game till today's. Well, City of Centranos launched with that Emus boss. Cold Heart was one of the champions that was putting heart decrease, heal reduction, 100% heal reduction on an A1 on that Emus boss, and that was the only reason why she was there. Some people might build damage on her, but let's not forget about the Cold Heart is very still valuable in 2024, all the way from the early game where you first obtain her and she helps you nuke the spider, helps you take down the Fire Knight, and maybe even in faction wars it helps. And now with Emus, she's coming in right here and helping also. So let's not forget about the Cold Heart. She's still very valuable and is an MVP, one of my favorite champions that I even have 2 copies of her. Some players have 3 copies of Cold Heart built different ways, so they don't have to change their builds. Now the third one I have to go for is going to be a Portal Carry, because even if I don't use him that much or that often, a Portal Carry is still an MVP that is close and dear to my heart, that is still very fast in my teams. with a total of 284 speed because my best speed has been put in on legendary champions, but Apothecary is still fully built. It's not sitting somewhere in the vault without gear. Still very, very used in some City of Centranos stages where I can use that champion or so. So let's not forget about Apothecary, still very valuable in the early game all the way to the end game, even in faction wars. Now, since I'm choosing 3 out of all this rarity, I will not speak about any other rares. So if you see a rare that I did not call out and you think I shouldn't have added Atel, let me know in the comments if you think some MVP champions now that are being used in like the Phantom Shogun or something. Those ones are just new. I'm talking about my personal favorite. Even Frozen Banshee did not make the cut because I have an awkward brawler right from the beginning of the game. I really didn't enjoy Frozen Banshee like people did. All right, let's go over to the next rarity, which is gonna be, let's see the filter, epics. Let's go to epics and see my favorite epics of all time. No doubt it's gonna be Sepulchre Sentinel. Sepulchre Sentinel, because this champion was the champion I needed to help me beat the clan boss, Ultra Nightmare, 3-key, killable team. That is what unlocked my account for the beta, and I will never forget this champion for what she did for me. What did she do? She helped make sure the clan boss did not stun me. She helped place increased defense. She helped place decreased attack. 3 things at the same time in just one champion. So she's very, very good. She even helped place block damage also. She helped block some damage with her passive. So I really enjoyed this champion from the early game I obtained her to the time I got a Skull Crusher along with her, and she was still even more important than a Skull Crusher sometimes in that team. So definitely I'm gonna give it to Sepulchre Sentinel, an epic champion that would never leave my mind when I'm talking about epics that people should build. Even before Geomancers and others came into the game, she was already an MVP for me from that first year. When Man-Eaters could not be obtained, Man-Eater was a luxury because your Void Shards was not something you had a lot of. You don't have a Man-Eater, you don't have your Seers right here. So she was the MVP. So I'm remembering my favorite champions in Raid, and she will always be one of the favorites. So if you have Sepulchre Sentinel, go crazy. And then if I go back in memory lane and begin to remember one of my favorite champions, I'll not just go because they are old and they helped me in the early game. No. Let's think about a little bit and say the ones that really help us even up till today. And let me go scroll a little bit further. I didn't prep this video before I made it. I remember the champion's name, but just by looking at them, I remember their names and how they helped me in content. I did not enjoy Toragi the Frog as most people did. By the time I got Toragi, I already have an unkillable. So I guess the next one I have to give it up for the epics category will have to be Man-Eater. This is not a champion ranking video. No, I'm not ranking them. I'm just giving them according to how close and dear I hold this champion. Double Man-Eater teams, single Man-Eater team, Man-Eater and Painkeeper, different ways I've built them all. Either for my accounts, Noob to Pro, or even for other players. I enjoy Man-Eater a lot, and kind of similar to what Sepulchre does, blocking that stun, because that's the most annoying part of the clan boss. But Man-Eater can be used out of the clan boss everywhere else, just like Sepulchre is being used today with a 6-star perfect soul on her. She's being used in every content. She also helped me with one of those Doom Tower bosses where you have to place consistent decrease attack on him, else is the problem. And yeah. And then finally, I have to give the 3rd position to Geomancer, of course. Even before a Seer came along, why am I not giving it to a Seer? Because I had Poison Explosion teams. I was enjoying Xavier Poison Explosion, so a Seer was never what I needed to beat dungeons. I know Seer was what helped a lot of people build dungeons. I saw her just as a speedrun champion. I never really valued her as highly as people took her because before I got her, I already beat all those content comfortably with a reasonable time. So I have to give it to Geomancer, because even if I never reused a Geomancer in my personal clan boss team, because I'm using him in Sand Devil Necropolis, City of Centranos, I'm using him in City of Centranos. I used him a little bit in Sand Devil before I removed him and built a 2-man team. And up to today, Geomancer is being used every other content. Even in City of Centranos, he's doing a lot. Even in Hydra, when I started beating Hydra Brutal, Geo was one of the main staples that helped me place that consistent HP burn, which means the Hydra heads took damage when they hit me. So that team right here. I never really enjoyed Demeter. I never built those Demeter teams, so I can't give it to Demeter. I know a lot of epic champions deserve this favorite position, but for my personal favorite for epic champion is going to be Sepulchre Sentinel, Geomancer, and your honorable Man-Eater. So that's the three I'm going to give it out to, because these are my favorite epics. I did not talk about Arena. If I did talk about Arena, I'll probably give it to this champion right here, because up to today, she's still in my go second Arena teams. But I have only a slot for 3, so I'm giving it to these 3, because I enjoy PvE content more than PvP. Besides, before I even built her, I had a legendary nuker who was doing the legendary nuking for me, who I'm going to give out to my first position for one of my best champions that I love the most. All right, let's switch out of epics and go into the legendary position for my favorite 3 legendaries of all time in Raid Shadow Legends. I'm not talking about the new ones that was just released yesterday, like these dudes. I've not started really enjoying them to the best of my ability to really give them a position of my favorite. No, my favorite is based on how long I've used that champion and how I've enjoyed them so far. So let me just take a second to scroll. Unfortunately, I cannot give him to Razen, because now I've developed a hatred a little bit for Razen. So let's keep scrolling and see who can I give it to. There are some epics, there are some legendaries that are kind of new to me. Like I got a Prince Kaima really late, so I can't give it to him. I got a Torment really late. Who am I gonna give it to as my first favorite legendary? I have to give it to Xavier. Talking about Dragon, before this hard mode dungeons was launched, right? We had to put a lot of poison, and Xavier just comes explode. A lot of people had Eleonora, right? I never really obtained Eleonora until my Xavier was already doing that. I was like, there's no need to build an Eleonora. So I appreciated Xavier a lot for what she helped me do in the early game. She's still in that solo Minotaur build where I use her. As still today, you see her as my Mino farmer right there. If I go to my Minotaur team that helped me farm scrolls, she is the leader. Everybody else can die. I can put 2-man with her and she'll lead and she'll solo this boss right here, solo the waves and all that. Even if Amans dies or anybody else dies, it doesn't really matter. So I still prefer and still appreciate this champion, even if I have other champions that can do it better right now. I still love her so much that I still find a place to keep her. Even if she's in the vault, she's still serving the purpose right here in my account. So me selecting this champion, it doesn't mean that I've not used them for 3 months. No, it's actually champions I use on a daily basis. I see them, I know them. I appreciated what they did for me in the Dragon back in the day, where she used to be one of those Dragon. I don't think I even have the Dragon team anymore, where she used to be relying on poison, then she explodes. Is it this team? No, it's not, definitely not this team. So I used to use a team like that, and yeah, Xavier was the poison explosion champion, and it really helped me took down the waves faster. The second wave will reset and comes back to Xavier doing the same poison explosion again. So I really appreciate her for what she did for me in the early game all the way till today, where I still use her in at least one content, or in City of Synchronos when she comes around and shines sometimes. All right, shout out to Xavier, I guess. Now that's me remembering one that I remembered from the early game all the way till today, where I still use her. The next legendary that I'll give it to for the second position of as my favorite legendary so far in Raid Shadow Legends is none of these new ones that I just obtained. I have to give it to Arbiter. Let's just give it to Arbiter, because whether you like it or not, Arbiter is my fastest champion in Raid Shadow Legends today. And I know a lot of people have taken their fastest gear from their Arbiter and put on somebody else, like a Lady Kimi, like Lady Mikage or others, right? I still have my Arbiter as 396 speed, and she remains one of my, the fastest champion in my team. Now I know there are other legendaries in Raid who probably deserve having that gear instead of an Arbiter. Some people even make Lysandra their fastest champion, but I still appreciate Arbiter for what she does for me in the arena. Even if the speed is not the best way to beat teams in the arena anymore, I still prefer to go with my speed team. If I hit battle right here in any of my teams, you see that my Arbiter is still in the leader slot. So a champion that I use on a daily basis, even till today, from the early time when I obtained that till today, over all these years, there's no reason why I should not give her one of my favorite champion spots. Even if it seems like her role is kind of flexible these days and can be replaced by almost any other speed boosters these days, like Akura sometimes is even replacing her, or even a Duchess sometimes being replacing her, or even Prince Kaima sometimes replaces Abita. There are many champions who can replace her, but she still holds a close place in my heart, and I still appreciate her for what she did for me in the early game and what she's still doing for me in the end game. Which means I have one more slot, legendary slot, to give to my favorite champion in raid for legendaries. Of course, 3 for rares, 3 for epics. Now the third one for legendary, I have to think closely and well about this one, because it's gonna be a champion that I've used in the early game that I'm still using today in the end game, at least sometimes. Or the one I'm looking forward to building that never really got the time. This used to be the champion, but no, Bigon fell off. And yeah, I've not rebuilt Bigon since then. I cannot give it to any of these free champions because they never really helped me. I cannot give it to... I really never enjoyed this champion the way just faction was in Hydra. That's all. Who do I give this last position to? Which champion did I enjoy so much in raid? Like Abita and Xavier. I wanted to give it to Brogni, but no, I really didn't enjoy Brogni that much. I did not enjoy Ninja that much either. He was replaced by a lot of content. I have to give it to my Arena Nuka then. I have to give it to my Arena Nuka, because all till today, since I obtained Kandraphone, he was big Nuka in the arena. Before the arena meta shifted and all that, he was still a big Nuka. Before we started seeing Boaster's head, before we started seeing shield, back then we could see a shield that could be removed by a Madame Ceres. Madame Ceres could remove the shield, Prince Kama could remove the shield, and he could nuke. Sometimes my Kandraphone does not even need the shield to be removed from the enemies. He could still nuke through their shield and nuke them down. So Kandraphone has to be my third option because of how crazy good he has been holding my arena team down all the way from the beginning when I obtained him up till today, still in the team. Even if I have better Nukas right now that I can use in his position, I'm supposed to strip all his gear and give to those Nukas. I'd rather him stay with his gear, and those Nukas will probably go for lethal set anyway. So I give the lethal to those Nukas while he remains with his goodie but oldie savage sets that I originally built him with, but have not been revised all till today. Chilling with about 269 crit damage, while if I rebuild my Kandraphone today, probably getting to 300 crit damage. Probably. 166 speed, so slow, but still almost 6k attack. So that's the old Kandraphone still being used in the arena. As long as I go first, I win. As long as he goes first, he win. So that's the 3. I don't want to do any honorable mentions. 3 rares, 3 epics, and 3 legendaries that are my personal favorites. I'd love to know below in the comments right now your 3 favorite rares, 3 favorite epics, and 3 favorite legendary champions, whether they are new or old, depending on how you loved how they played, you enjoyed them, depending on how you built them also. So despite you having better champions that are far more better than they are, you still prefer to use them in content today. I'd love to hear your comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Like and subscribe for more daily raid content. See you guys in the next one.